With that, we will pause the public hearing on 1438 and open the public hearing on HB 1304. Kellen, would you please brief the bill?
I will. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Again, for the record, Kellen Wright, staff of the committee. The bill before you is House Bill 1304, an act relating to the effective date of the filing of a notice of intention with the Boundary Review Board. This bill may look familiar, though maybe only to a couple of you, because it is before the committee last year, and a substitute was passed out of committee. The version before you today is the same as that substitute. For a bit of background, Boundary Review Boards are quasi-judicial boards that operate in 15 counties within the state and review certain local government actions. For example, boards can review a change in local government boundaries, special purpose district boundaries, or the extension of water service outside of an existing service area. Whenever a reviewable action occurs, the local government taking the action must notify the county's Boundary Review Board of the action and pay a filing fee. The notice of the action must provide a brief description of the proposed action, the legal description of the boundaries involved, and a county assessor's map with the proposed changes marked. Review by the Boundary Review Board can only be triggered under certain circumstances. For example, if sufficient board members file a request to review the action, or if enough voters within the area file a petition for a review. If a review is not triggered within 45 days of the filing of the notice of intention, then the proposed action is approved. If a review is triggered, then the Boundary Review Board generally has 120 days to issue a decision. An action may be approved, denied, or modified by the board. Turning now to this bill, it would provide for how the filing date of the notice of intent, that is, the notice that starts the 45-day clock running, is to be determined. It would be determined as the earlier of the date that the chief clerk of the board determines that the notice of intention is sufficient, or the date that the notice of intention is deemed sufficient because the clerk has not completed review by the applicable deadline. The clerk would have 30 days from when the notice of intention is initially submitted and the filing fee paid to complete the sufficiency review. If the clerk determines that the notice is not sufficient, then it must be returned for corrections. When it's resubmitted, the clerk would then have 14 days to review it again to determine whether it's now sufficient or is still in need of further corrections. The bill would also provide for what needs to be in the notice of intent for it to be deemed complete. For example, it would be required to contain, among other things, the nature of the proposed action, the legal description of the boundaries involved, and exhibits demonstrating that any statutory requirements related to the proposed action have been completed. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have one remote testifier, Chandler Felt.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Hello, Chair Doer and members of the House Local Government Committee. My name is Chandler Felt, and I'm representing the Washington State Association of Boundary Review Boards in support of 1304. Boundary Review Boards, or BRBs, are independent bodies in 15 Washington counties created by RCW 36.93. We are mandated to review, among other tasks, proposals to annex territory to a city, town, or special district. I chair the BRB Association's Legislative Committee. I'm speaking today in support of House Bill 1304. As Kellen pointed out, in last year's legislative session, there was a similar bill, House Bill 2344. Our association suggested an amendment to that bill to clarify the function of BRB chief clerks. Last year, this committee passed an amended version of that bill with language that did reflect the intent of our suggestions. So thank you very much for that. However, House Bill 2344 did not move forward last session. Thank you for bringing the substance of that bill back to the legislature this year as House Bill 1304, and for including the language that reflected our suggestions from last year. House Bill 1304 would establish an effective filing date for a proposed action such as an annexation. The State Association of Boundary Review Boards strongly supports this bill because it will clarify the time frame for the BRB chief clerk to ensure that a proposal is complete, while also ensuring that a BRB file will proceed in a timely and expeditious way. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. With that, we will close the public hearing on 1305.